The gavel struck wood, sharp and final. For a moment, the only sound in the courtroom was the faint click of a camera shutter. The air was heavy, thick with judgment, thick with the weight of lives forever changed. In the defendant's chair, Evelyn Hackman sat still, her manicured hands trembling in her lap. She had grown up in the shadow of a legend. Being the only daughter of a Hollywood icon meant she never wanted for anything. Private schools, sprawling estates, and the constant hum of fame had cushioned her from the world's harshness. But no amount of money or privilege could save her now. Ms. Hackman, Judge Monroe's voice cut through the silence, deliberate and cold, you have been found guilty of conspiracy to commit aggravated assault and witness tampering. I hereby sentence you to 25 years in state prison. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Evelyn flinched but didn't dare let a tear fall. Cameras zoomed in, hungry for her reaction. But it wasn't fear that burned behind her eyes. It was rage. In the far corner of the courtroom, Alana Davis watched, fists clenched in her lap. This wasn't just a victory, it was survival. She had spent years being nothing more than a footnote in Evelyn Hackman's perfect world. An inconvenience. Someone to be crushed and forgotten. But no more. Alana had been invisible to Evelyn. Just a lowly assistant in a gleaming Beverly Hills office. Her job was simple, fetch coffee, organize schedules, and stay out of the way. She had learned to swallow her pride, hoping one day her hard work might lead to something more. Evelyn had other ideas. You should be grateful, Evelyn had sneered one afternoon when Alana requested a raise. People like you don't get opportunities like this every day. People like me? Alana's voice trembled, but she held Evelyn's gaze. Poor. Desperate. Evelyn leaned back in her chair, her smile icy. Don't forget where you belong. The words stung, but Alana had no choice but to endure them. Rent didn't pay itself, and Evelyn knew it. 4 months, she exploited that desperation, working Alana to exhaustion, belittling her at every turn. It wasn't until Alana overheard a conversation she wasn't meant to that everything changed. If you're new to True Crime series, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you the real stories, the cases that demand to be heard and the voices that deserve justice. This is a case you won't want to miss. Late one night, Evelyn's office door had been left slightly ajar. Alana, staying late to finish reports, froze when she heard her boss's voice, low and tense. I don't care how you do it, Evelyn hissed into her phone. I want her scared. If she testifies, it's over. Alana's stomach turned cold. She knew Evelyn had enemies, what powerful woman didn't? But this was different. This was a threat. The next day, Alana found the file Evelyn had been trying to bury. A former business partner, Vanessa Caldwell, had uncovered evidence of tax fraud and money laundering. She was prepared to testify. Unless someone stopped her. Alana knew she should walk away. But after years of humiliation, something inside her snapped. If Evelyn thought she was powerless, she was about to find out just how wrong she was. Alana began collecting evidence in secret. Emails. Bank records. Text messages that left no doubt Evelyn had orchestrated a campaign of intimidation against Vanessa. It was risky, but for the first time in years, Alana felt a flicker of control. And then Evelyn found out. One evening, Alana came home to find her apartment door slightly ajar. The living room was trashed. Papers shredded. Laptop gone. Her heart pounded in her chest. Evelyn was sending a message, stop, or else. But Alana wasn't scared anymore. She was furious. She took everything she had to the district attorney. It wasn't just about Vanessa anymore. It was about every assistant Evelyn had abused. Every life she had ruined while hiding behind the shield of her father's fame. And when the indictment came down, Evelyn Hackman finally realized she wasn't untouchable. The trial was a spectacle. The media feasted on the irony, the daughter of one of Hollywood's most respected actors, facing charges usually reserved for mobsters. Evelyn's defense team painted her as a misunderstood philanthropist, but the evidence was damning. Emails detailing bribes. Bank transfers to known enforcers. And when Alana took the stand, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands, the jury listened. When the verdict was read, Evelyn's mask cracked. For once, there were no press agents to spin the story. No powerful father to shield her. She was just another criminal. As the bailiff led Evelyn away, Alana stood. Her heart pounded, but not from fear. From freedom. Evelyn had once told her to remember where she belonged. Now, it was Evelyn who was trapped. That night, Alana returned to her apartment, expecting peace. Closure. Instead, there was an envelope waiting at her door. No return address. Inside was a single piece of paper. You think it's over? It's not. The blood drained from Alana's face. Evelyn might be behind bars. But someone else was still watching. The note trembled in Alana's fingers, its message simple but chilling. You think it's over? It's not. Her heart pounded as she scanned the hallway. Empty. But the tight knot in her stomach said otherwise. Someone had been here, someone who wanted her to know Evelyn's reach stretched further than a prison cell. Locking the door behind her, Alana sank onto the couch, her mind racing. Evelyn Hackman was behind bars, but the people who did her dirty work? They were still out there. And they weren't finished with her. The next morning, Alana called Detective Marcus Reed, the investigator who had helped bring Evelyn down. He was sharp, no nonsense, and one of the few people she trusted. Are you sure you didn't see anyone? Reed's voice was steady, but Alana caught the undercurrent of concern. Positive. But whoever it was, they got in without setting off my locks. Reed sighed. Evelyn had connections. Just because she's in prison doesn't mean her influence died with the verdict. I'll send a patrol car by tonight. Keep your phone close. Alana hung up, but the weight in her chest didn't ease. Evelyn had lost the trial, but she wasn't the type to let things go quietly. Later that afternoon, while sorting through her mail, one envelope stood out. No stamp. No return address. Inside was a photograph. A grainy image of her. Taken from across the street. On the back, 3 words, "We never forget." The following weeks blurred together in a haze of paranoia. The sound of footsteps behind her. Shadows that felt too close. Alana couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Reed stayed in touch, but with Evelyn locked away, leads were thin. Her financial accounts are frozen, he told her. Whoever's doing this isn't working for money. This is personal. Alana knew exactly how personal Evelyn could get. Then, one night, everything changed. Returning from a late shift, Alana found her apartment door cracked open. Her breath caught. This wasn't like last time. This was bolder. Hand shaking, she pushed the door wide. The apartment was dark, too quiet. But something felt off. She reached for her phone, dialing Reed as she stepped inside. Reed, someone's been here. A soft click behind her made her freeze. She turned slowly. A figure stood in the shadows. A man. Lean, with sharp eyes and a cruel smile. You should have walked away, he said, voice low and calm. But now, you're in too deep. Alana backed toward the kitchen, where a knife lay on the counter. Who are you? The man tilted his head. A friend of Evelyn's. She may be gone, but the game isn't over. Her fingers closed around the knife handle. Get out. He laughed softly. Not tonight, sweetheart. Just then, the distant wail of a police siren pierced the air. The man stepped back, his smile fading. We'll be seeing you. And just like that, he was gone. When Reed arrived, Alana was still shaking. The lock had been tampered with, but no fingerprints. No evidence. I told you, she said. Evelyn's not done. Reed nodded grimly. If she's pulling strings from prison, she has help. And whoever he is, he's just getting started. A pit formed in Alana's stomach. Evelyn had spent years building her empire of fear. Even behind bars, she was playing a longer game. What do we do? She asked. Reed's expression hardened. We find out who he is, and we end it. 2 nights later, another envelope appeared. This time, it wasn't a picture. It was a map, an address circled in red ink. And beneath it, a single chilling line. Come alone, or someone you love pays the price. Alana stared at the map, her hands clammy with sweat. The address circled in red burned into her mind. Whoever was behind this wasn't just playing games anymore, they were raising the stakes. She knew what Reed would say, don't go alone. But the threat beneath the map's instructions was clear. If she brought the police, someone she loved would pay. And after everything Evelyn Hackman had already done, she wasn't willing to take that risk. The next evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Alana drove toward the address. It led her to the outskirts of Los Angeles, an abandoned warehouse with rusting metal doors and broken windows. Her heart thundered as she stepped out of the car. The cool air bit at her skin as she approached the entrance. The silence was eerie. No lights. No signs of life. Still, she pushed forward. If this was a trap, she needed to know who was pulling the strings. Inside, the air was thick with dust and oil. Her footsteps echoed across the concrete floor. In the dim light, she spotted a chair in the center of the room. And someone sitting in it. Her breath hitched. Hello? The figure didn't move. Alana crept closer, her pulse roaring in her ears. As she reached out to touch the person's shoulder, the chair spun around. It was a mannequin. A phone was duct taped to its hand. It buzzed to life. With shaking fingers, Alana answered. You're braver than I thought, a voice drawled. Smooth. Cold. The same man who had broken into her apartment. What do you want? Alana demanded, trying to keep the tremor out of her voice. A soft chuckle. It's not about what I want, sweetheart. It's about what Evelyn wants. And she wants you to suffer. Alana's stomach twisted. She's behind this. She's behind everything. His voice turned venomous. But I'm the one you should be afraid of now. Before she could respond, the line went dead. Then, a sudden sound, footsteps. Behind her. Alana spun around just as the lights exploded on, blinding her. She raised her hands to shield her face, but it was too late. A hand clamped over her mouth. Everything went black. When Alana came to, her wrists burned from the zip ties binding them. She was in the back of a moving van, the hum of the road vibrating beneath her. Fear clawed at her throat, but she forced herself to stay calm. Think. Her phone was gone. No way to call for help. Whoever this man was, he was organized. Careful. But not careful enough. She still had a shard of glass tucked in her sleeve, left over from when she smashed a picture frame after Evelyn's first threat. Using every ounce of focus, she began working the glass against the plastic binding her wrists. The van slowed. A door creaked open. Alana cut faster, ignoring the sting as the glass bit into her skin. Heavy boots approached. The zip tie snapped. When the van doors swung open, Alana lunged. The man staggered back as she drove the shard into his arm. He cursed, blood blooming beneath his jacket. Alana bolted, sprinting into the dark wood surrounding them. Branches whipped against her face. She could hear him behind her, crashing through the underbrush. But she was faster. She didn't stop running until she reached a road. Headlights flashed in the distance. Desperate, she stumbled into the path of the oncoming car, waving her arms. The tires screeched to a halt. Detective Reed. Alana collapsed against the hood, gasping for breath. You're lucky you're alive, Reed said hours later, pacing the hospital room where Alana's wounds were being treated. I couldn't wait, she snapped. They said they'd hurt someone I love. His face softened, but the tension didn't leave his shoulders. This isn't over. That man, whoever he is, was willing to risk everything. And if Evelyn's orchestrating this from prison, she's smarter than we thought. Alana shivered despite the warmth of the room. She had believed taking Evelyn down would end the nightmare. But it was only the beginning. Her phone buzzed. A message. No number. You got away this time. Next time, you won't. Reed read over her shoulder. We'll trace it. Don't worry, we'll get them. Alana wanted to believe that. But deep down, she knew the truth. Evelyn's reach was far from broken. And whoever this man was, he wouldn't stop until he finished what she started. 3 days later, a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a key. And a note that chilled her to the bone. You want answers? Come find them. Beneath it was another address. Evelyn's childhood home. Alana stood outside Evelyn Hackman's childhood home, the night wind curling around her like a phantom's breath. The place was a looming, weather-beaten Victorian house, its windows dark and hollow. The key in her hand felt ice-cold, heavy with the weight of whatever secrets lay inside. She knew it was reckless. But if Evelyn wanted her here, there had to be a reason. A reason Alana couldn't ignore. The lock clicked open, the sound loud in the eerie silence. Alana slipped inside, her flashlight slicing through the dusty gloom. The air was thick, stale, heavy with secrets long buried. Floorboards groaned beneath her feet as she moved through the hallway. Faded family portraits lined the walls, smiling faces frozen in time. One frame stood out, its glass cracked. A young Evelyn. Even as a child, her eyes were cold. Alana swallowed hard and pushed forward. In the living room, sheets draped the furniture like ghosts. But it was the grand piano in the corner that caught her eye. Something was off. She crossed the room and lifted the lid. A second key, taped to the underside. A whisper slipped from her lips. What are you hiding? Before she could puzzle it out, her phone buzzed. Another message. You're getting warmer. A shiver ran down her spine. Someone was watching. The second key led to the basement door. Alana hesitated, her heart hammering. Every instinct screamed to turn back, but she'd come too far to stop. The basement smelled of earth and rust. Dim light bulbs flickered overhead. In the far corner, a steel cabinet stood, bolted to the wall. Alana slid the key into the lock and turned. Inside were files. Dozens of them. Faded, yellowed reports bound by twine. She pulled one free and scanned the contents. Names. Dates. Payments. Her breath caught. This wasn't just a record of Evelyn's crimes, this was blackmail. Politicians, judges, even police officers. Evelyn had been pulling strings for decades. One name stood out, Detective Reed. Alana's blood ran cold. Her thoughts raced. Could she trust anyone? Before she could process it, the basement door creaked. Footsteps. Alana shoved the files back, heart pounding as she slipped behind a support beam. A tall silhouette descended the stairs, broad shoulders, deliberate steps. The man from the warehouse. He scanned the basement, his hand resting on his belt, where a gun glinted in the dim light. Alana held her breath, every muscle tensed. Then her phone buzzed again. The sound was deafening. His head snapped toward her hiding place. "Come out," he ordered, voice smooth but sharp with menace. Alana knew she was trapped, but she wasn't going down without a fight. She seized a rusty crowbar leaning against the wall and stepped out. "You really want to do this," she said, forcing steel into her voice. He smiled, a cruel, cold smile. "You have no idea what you're up against." He lunged. Alana swung. The crowbar cracked against his shoulder. He staggered back with a grunt of pain, but he wasn't down. He grabbed her wrist, twisting it hard. "Evelyn warned me you were stubborn." His breath was hot against her ear. "But you should have walked away." Alana drove her knee into his ribs and wrenched free, bolting up the stairs. She didn't stop until she burst through the front door and into the night. Her car was parked down the road. She jumped inside, locked the doors, and peeled away, her hands trembling on the wheel. But she had the files. And if Evelyn wanted them hidden, they had to be the key to everything. Hours later, safe in her apartment, Alana spread the stolen documents across her kitchen table. A piece of paper slipped loose from one of the folders. A birth certificate. Her heart stopped. Father, Gene Hackman. Mother, Evelyn Hackman. Alana's stomach lurched. This wasn't blackmail. It was a family secret. And somehow, she was part of it. Alana sat frozen, the birth certificate trembling in her fingers. The words blurred as her heart pounded in her chest. Father, Gene Hackman. Mother, Evelyn Hackman. She had spent her entire life believing she was nobody, just another foster kid the world forgot. Now, the truth stared back at her, she was their daughter. A pawn in a game she hadn't even known she was playing. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "The truth is yours, if you can survive it." Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Evelyn had manipulated her every step of the way, but why? What did she stand to gain? Only one way to find out. Alana gathered the files and slipped them into her bag. She wasn't going to hide. Not anymore. By the time she reached the prison, the sun hung low in the sky, casting long, eerie shadows. Evelyn Hackman's trial had ended days ago, life without parole. But Alana knew women like Evelyn didn't break that easily. Inside, the cold sterility of the visitation room matched the chill in her bones. Evelyn sat on the other side of the glass, her perfectly pressed jumpsuit doing nothing to soften the calculating gleam in her eyes. Alana picked up the phone. "You knew," her voice shook with rage. "You knew this whole time." Evelyn smiled, slow and venomous. "I always wondered how long it would take you to figure it out." "Why?" Alana demanded. "Why drag me into this? Why not tell me the truth?" Evelyn tilted her head, studying her like a specimen under glass. "You were my insurance policy. I knew one day the walls would close in. And when they did, I needed a survivor." Alana's blood boiled. "A survivor? You used me like a pawn." "No, darling." Evelyn's voice was smooth as silk. "I made you stronger. Look at you, chasing ghosts. You could walk away now. But you won't." Alana leaned forward, eyes burning. "I have the files. Everything. If you think I'll let you get away with this." Evelyn's smile widened. "Oh, sweetheart. I'm already in prison. But you? You're the one with something to lose." The weight of her words settled like lead in Alana's gut. As Alana left the prison, her phone buzzed again. An unknown number. She answered, heart pounding. "Who is this?" A distorted voice crackled through the line. You have what we want. And if you don't deliver it, we'll take everything from you. Alana's knuckles whitened around the phone. I'm not afraid of you. The voice laughed softly. You should be. The call ended, leaving only silence, and the weight of the threat hanging over her. Alana's resolve hardened. Evelyn thought she was still a pawn. She was wrong. That night, Alana met with the only person she could trust, Detective Reed. He sat across from her in a dimly lit diner, his face lined with exhaustion. She slid the files across the table. I have proof Evelyn's been controlling people for years. Even inside the system. Reed's eyes darkened as he skimmed the pages. This could bring down half the city. But it won't, Alana said bitterly. Not unless we move fast. Whoever's protecting Evelyn, they're still out there. Reed nodded slowly. We'll need to play this smart. Are you ready for that? Alana's heart pounded, but her voice was steady. I'm done being their puppet. Let's take them down. For the first time, the scales had shifted. Evelyn's power was slipping. And Alana held the knife. As Alana drove home, headlights flared in her rearview mirror. A black SUV. Following too close. She took a sharp turn. The SUV followed. Her pulse spiked. She gripped the wheel tighter, her mind racing. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, a simple text message. You should have walked away. Before she could react, the SUV accelerated, slamming into her rear bumper. Her tires screeched as she struggled to control the car, adrenaline flooding her veins. They weren't just watching. They were coming for her. If you're as hooked as we are, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next twist in this chilling true crime saga. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it, because the truth always comes out in the end. Stay tuned for more gripping stories that never make the headlines. You won't want to miss what happens next.